My name is Ronnie Chang. I'm just addressing a comment here. I think we are all not in focus. Because if there's been an agreement, whoever signs it, the leaders probably betray us if we cannot keep track of it now. Right? If there's been an agreement in the first place, if there are breaches to the agreement, where do we seek redress? Has that issue been looked at? Now, if that issue has never been looked at, what are we talking about here? There's no room for redress. So I think we are all out of focus. There has been an agreement. Sabah has an agreement, Sarawak has an agreement to form the federation. Now, if there are breaches to the agreement, where is our redress? How do we go and seek redress? Definitely not in the court of Malaysia. I mean, it would be ridiculous to sign an agreement where one of the parties has the advantage to decide on redress. So maybe, we can explore other areas in this direction and be more focused and see how we can redress. Thank you, sir.
Okay, my name is David Talong. I'm from Serian. Good evening, Datuk and Mr. Chairman. Now, this question of right seems to be quite interesting and very violent in Sarawak right at the moment. And as we have said now, the longhouses that we built, 47 years already being demolished. There are so many other longhouses in Sarawak have been demolished. Our graveyards have been demolished. Our gardens, our fruit trees have been demolished. Left and right. And some of us have been crying day and night to see this thing happening. I think now it's about time that we look for, as our friend said just now, the venue where our right should be addressed. Perhaps who signed this agreement? Who would witness to this agreement before? Perhaps when the United Nations forced us to become independent, perhaps the United Nations should be the body to correct, to address this issue right at this moment. Because if you go to Malaysian court, of course we sure kalawan lah. One, it is already a personal interest in the Malaysian judiciary, you see. Because if I decide my case, of course I make myself win, you see. It's not correct for us to go that way. So my suggestion is that maybe you seek venue, maybe a ballot box, maybe the first, second, maybe the United Nations.
Okay, so
thank you very much.
Okay, just a short comment. I think the basic problem of Malaysia and the Malaysia agreement is that there is no compliance mechanism. Nobody is supervising except the federal government whether the agreement is being fulfilled or just thrown out. Nobody is checking, monitoring how we are doing as a nation called Malaysia. I think this is one of the issues that we have to fight for in order to put in place this mechanism which doesn't exist, which actually existed before in the form of the Intergovernmental Committee. And I think this needs to be reactivated. And the members should be returned, the federal government, the Sabah government, and the Sarawak government. They should be members. Together, they review the agreement and they monitor the compliance. Because now there is no compliance and nobody is supervising, and the federal government, controlled by a certain political party, they dictate how Malaysia should become, and that is very dangerous. That's all. Thank you.
Of course, to answer about Saudara Day, if you want to bring it to the courts of law, I think of course you have to go to the International Court of Justice if you want to. I can tell you that probably that would be very interesting. I don't mind, going over there and raise this up. But the practical aspect of it is, how I look at it is this. Now, of course, the three federal and Sabah Sarawak were the signatories to the agreement. Now, if there is a breach to the agreement, I, as one of the signatories, have the rights to complain. That's exactly what I'm trying to do now. And that's why I thank Anak Bangsa Malaysia for organizing this forum. We need to educate the people first and understand the concept and the history of this whole thing. Then, I think the next thing is, of course, the people have to rise up to speak and to exercise your rights. Now, without it, because it was a intergovernmental agreement, therefore the government still exists, but Sabah Sarawak is still existing, but so the state of Sabah and Sarawak would be, as a government, as a legal entity, as a government entity, would be the one who can take up this matter and confront federal. The problem is, they are not. The problem is that, as I've said, they will be under the threat of the federal. For whatever reason, I don't know, you see. So, actually, it depends on the state government of Sabah Sarawak to enforce your rights, to raise it up. Thank you.
Thank you. I will, in the interest of time, I will allow one last question or comment.
Allow me to just mention this very important point. Actually, for 47 years, we cannot do it. But the political situation at the moment is such that Sabah and Sarawak is forming the government actually. Okay, the federal government. Without Sabah, federal government forms. So this is the time the leaders of Sabah and Sarawak actually can bring the federal government to the table and say, look, you are in power because of us. Why don't we talk terms? But the problem is the Sabah government, Sarawak government, can they get together? Can they use this opportunity to talk to the federal government? They should. This is the only time, because there is a reverse power. The question is that we are the one that the angkat in the federal government. Without Sabah, Sarawak jatuh sudah. So they can also come to the opposition, to the Pakatan government and say, oh, look, we want to talk terms with you. If you become the federal government, would you really do that? We make an agreement now. The same thing you do to the present government and the alternative government. Baru kita boleh menang.
One last question or comment before we break. Anybody? All right. Okay. If there's none, I think we'd like to thank both the speakers for giving a good presentation in our normal way. Thank you very much.